Hi everybody. Welcome back. I was just making sure I recorded before we jumped on here. Yeah, I guess Fashion Week's been entertaining
Mhm.
um, for some of us. We had London Fashion Week, and it was quite an interesting experience. And I guess there was some good shows going all around, and we saw lots of people moving about. So it was quite entertaining to see people drawing live. We had people from New York, Israel, um, all around that came with us to London Fashion Week. And we also showed, and we tried a new promotional tool this year of handing out postcards from different artists and illustrators. And the good news is everything went, and I think people were stealing them off each other. So that's a good sign, I think, from a promotional tool and a thing that people aren't used to seeing. And we know people when they go to fashion shows, they love everything for free. So they grab everything. But there was other invitations and other stuff there. So, but they took all of our stuff. So which was quite nice to see, if you go to these events, what works, what doesn't work. It's always interesting to see, how we can promote fashion illustration more. And I think it's on the grow at the moment. So we know lots of brands. Hermes has caused this big wave of fashion illustration uh, to be heavily promoted, and lots of commissions happening. So it's kind of a good time for people to get some work. So anyway, let's share the presentation. Um, just going to go to full screen here. Okay, so illustrating Fashion Week, uh, we left it quite open for anyone to illustrate any brands. And I guess it's interesting to see what came through from an illustration point of view. And we kind of will get everyone to give their sort of feedback. Um, Kahori, I see you're on here. If you want to kind of pull yourself forwards. And I saw lots of stuff that you were doing on social media as well, Kahori.
Hello,
Hello.
good evening.
Yeah, so what I did is I grabbed, I guess these are the three. They were very, because you gave a variety of different options, but these were the three that I guess, one, they all had different color paper, and
Mhm.
secondly, the approach was very different. And I guess it would be interesting to hear from you is what was going through your mind doing these pieces of work? Because you approached it like one is documentary, one is sort of, well, they're all very documentary, but one was almost like you're catching the whole environment. One is you're catching like little moments and pieces, and one is more expressive and almost like you were drawing live from the catwalk. That's what I got from it. What did you get from it?
Which drawing did you choose? Because I can see only the
Can you not see?
presentation, the first page. I just
Let me.
cover.
Can it is everybody only looking at the front cover?
Oh, it's only me.
I'll stop sharing and I'll reshare.
Okay.
Okay. Any better?
Okay, okay, okay. I get
Okay.
it.
Hopefully
Um,
everybody. Let me have a look if anyone was struggling.
the first two on the color paper, I saw the Anna Sui fashion show on the Instagram, and I played with a crayon, fast, very fast drawing. And the mother of this model, the green dress, contacted me and she commissioned that drawing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was her mother. Because
Oh,
I post on the story and Anna Sui reposted my drawing. a lots of brand they ignore. I mean, I don't think even they see. But I try to tag or mention about the design brand, and honestly reposted. So that reached to the audience, I think. And at the bottom, that like a backstage, I was one of the dresser this time. Todd's show, Todd fashion show in Milan Fashion Week. Todd's. Can you
Yeah.
hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I'm listening.
Okay. I was a dresser for the first time, and I cannot take pictures at the backstage, so I just try to remember some some scene. So I try that
So,
one
so
at
you, so
home.
you, did you make this all up?
No, I'm trying to remember, and I think I put it all together from the memory.
Nice.
Yes, after that I'll check up also few details, but yeah,
Nice.
something
Good.
simple.
Good.
I couldn't even bring the sketchbook, so and there's too many fashion shows. I try to sketch while looking at the show on the Instagram live, but then it was a lot's going on, and I wanted to look at the Onizuka Tiger.
Yeah.
They changed the direction. I think it's yeah. I don't think it's Asics anymore. It's more fashion.
Yeah.
And I saw this heel. No, it was fun to draw. So I did a quick sketch.
Yeah. I guess a good tip is even Marc Jacobs tends to repost quite a lot of fashion illustration. Is there are certain brands like Anna Sui. I met her in New York, and
Oh,
she loves fashion illustration.
I
I
can.
met her at the National Arts Club when we did the Holston event, and she came, and she loves fashion illustration, and she would be someone who, if you draw a lot, share with her.
Mhm.
She's the sort of person who would, because she draws, she
Yeah.
loves illustration. And Mark Jacobs, even though he doesn't really draw, he
Mhm.
loves illustration. So there are certain brands and people that love fashion and illustration as well. So that's why you got that good sort of support from Anna Sui because she really loves illustration as a tool to get her idea across. And I guess it's people she sees people embracing her brand, doing something quite cool. And I think yeah, I thought the Anasui ones I really liked. They felt really fast and immediate, and they felt spontaneous, and they felt like they were potentially done at the show. So a lot of the illustrators who came to London Fashion Week were drawing in that sort of style with pencils and pastels and like quite quick. And I feel that to me, I really like these the most because they feel the most immediate. The other two feel more fashion design drawer, like
Mhm.
someone who designs for clothes, where then two feel more arty, more fashion illustration, more fun, more playful, and more spontaneous. And I think that's sort of the feedback that we hear. And even when I spoke to Vogue magazine, they had said to me, we really want people that draw in an immediate style that feels quite fresh and organic.
Okay.
And they
Good.
really love people to also document. They when they asked us last time which illustrators document as they draw, and we didn't have many, so we could only recommend a few. So it's always handy to do like a time lapse of you drawing something like this because
Mm-hmm.
that tends to get traction as well. And lots of brands like we saw Harvey Nichols also do that as well with Jackie Blue and stuff like that. So I think if you could document when you were doing the Anasui would have been nice. But obviously, there's only so much you can do. Even if you did like snapshots every so often
Mm.
of bits, it might go together as a nice 8-second piece.
Mm-hmm.
Could be quite cool. So
Okay.
do think about time lapse.
Yeah, I have to be careful with the cat.
Yeah, yeah,
She's
yeah.
always
Well, the,
walking around on my table while I'm
the
drawing.
the cat, I've got a cat as well, and that's the beauty of a cat. It gets in the way, so you have to just get used to a cat,
Yeah.
and the cat could be part of the art. And lots of people love cats, so don't worry about a cat.
Ah, could be a plus. Okay.
It's a bonus point. So I
Okay.
think don't worry about cats. I think cats are a nice bonus. So, but anyway, Kahori, these are lovely, and I
Thank
think.
you.
These like little postcards, like we handed out lots of postcards, but I think if you printed postcards that look like that have that sort of colored papered look and feel, they
Mm.
would be really nice to hand out. And I think it would be a good thing to do, even for yourself. Like you could have, we were thinking that outside London Fashion Week, it's so strange because if you imagine a nightclub, outside nightclubs, people give flyers and all
Yeah.
these sorts of things. And outside Fashion Week, there's just people photographing each other. There's no sort of promotion. And it makes me wonder, like, because illustrators always talk to us about work and how to get work and I think they feel that only through social media in their bedrooms they're going to get work. There's lots of if we Sarah Darby, who's in Australia, she now stands outside like Richard Haynes does as well. She stands outside the fashion shows. They don't have an invitation. They draw and they capture lots of work. And Sarah Darby is fully booked
Mm.
nearly every day of the week to illustrate fashion stuff
Oh, I wish I
for
could do.
live events. And
Yeah.
she makes an absolute fortune. So I I would advise any of you to go to live shows and draw outside. So I think you're getting some nice feedback as well and beautiful work. So well done, Kahori. But
Thank
thank
you.
you, and
Thank
let's do more. And I'm kind of watching what you're doing on social media as well. So it's
thank
good to
you.
see what you're up to. But well done, thank you.
Thank you.
Um, Valia's not here. I think she's in Greece, so she's missed us. But this was a really nice piece, and I think with regards to Valia's work, um, you know, being an illustrator who's trying to find or define a style is really complex and really hard. And I know Valia has been pushing in all different ways and using watercolors and inks. And I feel that there's some sort of successful piece here. The model has an emotional feel, almost feels quite sad, which I quite like as well. It has a sort of hidden narrative base within the work. And I think some of my feedback to Valley has always been sometimes it feels a bit too drawn, like the drawing's too well done. Where here I think you've stripped it back a bit, and I think the outcome's really nice. So well done, and I love that sort of inky royal blue. It's very it reminds me of sort of ceramic plates. So a lovely piece, Valia. Well done. Um, right. You can tell me your name clearly.
It's Eloise.
Eloise, okay. I
Yep.
just wanted to check. So, Eloise,
Hi,
you
Patrick. Nice to meet you. Sorry, finally.
that nice to meet you. And I guess because I did a little bit of research on you, and I noticed you're a good paper maker, a person who does lots of stuff with paper mechanics, and it was interesting to see all the different stuff that you do as a creative, and I think a lot of people probably don't appreciate all the different plates we have to spin to be a creative. And I think you're a good example. If anyone hasn't seen your other work, I think it would be nice for other people to go and have a look at your other bits and bobs, go through your website, have a look and sort of understand your other stuff. But this is your other side of your practice that you're kind of pushing forward in a really playful way. And what I did here is you had a whole array of stuff, and we did. I did get a few illustrators over the last few years to draw shoes. It was a project I was given by another magazine to go to Frieze Art Fair and draw people's
Wow,
shoes. So
amazing.
it's the sort of commission that would happen, and people forget shoes say a lot about people, what shoes they wear and how they sort of decorate them and how they sort of clean them, and so they tell a good story. Shoes, so shoes are a really good thing to do, and they're really they gain a lot of commissioned work, and I got sort of lots of sort of commission work from it. So I guess to showcase shoes and really get into the details, because sometimes when you do people people we kind of people then get obsessed with, does it look like someone, or is the proportions right, where when you do shoes you can make them big, you can make them small, you can make them elongated, you can have a lot more fun. And rather than hands, with hands if you get it wrong people complain, but shoes I think you can do what you want. So I guess what would be quite interesting to hear from you is, well, firstly, I guess you could explain a little bit about your approach and the technique that you're using here, and what are your plans?
Um, well, again, so nice to meet you, Patrick, and to meet everybody. So I went to grad school for illustration 20 years ago at FIT here in New York, and I came to New York to be a fashion illustrator. And then I wound up doing a project for a client that had me work with paper, which I had never done before. And that kind of rolled into a window display, which ended up turning into W Magazine. And then I had this career for 15 years being a paper artist and a prop stylist. And then about 5 years ago, it just dried up completely. Like my work just got very boring, and I was really unsatisfied, and I wasn't drawing. And so about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, I started to dedicate my life to drawing. I'm balancing motherhood on top of that. I have a 11, 12-year old and a 5-year old. So it's that kind of mom complaint also of how to work and be a mom. Um, but I think my goals right now, so I guess long story short, I'm trying to use all that knowledge of paper and all my years of kind of manipulating paper and synth them with my painting and drawing background and try to offer a client a more tactile, dimensional approach to illustration. I really get obsessed with the details of illustration, like that Harris Reed one on the top left. I mean, I could just, anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. Um, so my goals, I would love to get editorial work, which is where the shoe thing came about. You had recommended in the last review, I was out of the country the last one, but you had recommended to another illustrator about accessories. And um, so I get, you know, as Kahori mentioned the last one, you know, you watch all this runway and I get inundated with too much choice. So I tried to focus my mind on these, on certainly London Fashion Week and New York, where I was like, I'm going to focus on shoes because I thought that would help diversify my portfolio also, like you had mentioned, to have it kind of full figure and shoes. And I was trying to incorporate some profiles or some three-quarter images to just try to have my portfolio broaden because I would love to start working as a fashion illustrator. That's my goal. And like Kahori, I've been tagging people. So like Harris Reed has been really nice. Some people do reshare. Um, so I think that's always something that we should do because you just never know, you know, who's looking at this stuff. So I don't know.
Um, so
Oh,
funny.
wait, one more thing. Sorry.
Go
You
on.
said also to make the move, you had given me feedback on the last one.
Yeah,
So
I've got the
that's where
moving ones.
I
I've
was
done the
trying to
moving ones
have
here.
that was my goal for this past group too, is to have them animate. And I'm really bad with technology, so this was kind of the extent of my skill set. But
Yeah.
I
So
was trying
I
to make
got
them
them. I
move.
added in these sort of playing pieces as well, which is good, which I think is a massive bonus that you did it because um, I just think it was a great opportunity for you to kind of people want to see animation. Everybody I get
Yeah,
feedback from, every client, every single person is like, thank you for some drawings. We want animations. We want more from the illustrators. Uh, like even I was talking to Pep Munez, who's an illustrator, and he was saying, he was doing illustration, and they were like, Carolina Herrera was like, we want them to be animated. We want everything animated. So that's the feedback that's kind of coming back. And the other thing is, you've got to remember that animation, you will be paid 50 times more money than if you were being doing one single illustration because you're a filmmaker, you're an editor, you're an animator, so you're all of them elements rolled into one because an animation, whether it's paper mechanics, whether it's stop frame, the amount of money that people will spend compared to a single illustration that is just crazy. And we had another illustrator, Lisa Nicotina, who I reposted yesterday or 2 days ago, and she was on here and she spoke to me just before Christmas and said, from one of the Dior projects, I've been given this huge project, and it was all because she did an animation. I complained at her to say, even if you show your drawings done in stop frame or time lapse or whatever it is, and she said from that she got this big project, and she said she's so busy from it that she was able to not do anything anymore. She's doing it like full time. So animation is the key ingredient to kind of where you can head. And I think this stop frame animation, and even if them flowers could have flown in, like as if it was a wind, and add a bit more story. Like we had Poppy Wadilove, who's a really amazing illustrator, and she said that she was given feedback from Vogue Italia. We really want to feel there's a story happening within the illustration. So these are just people that are remarking on what illustration is and what people really require, and they want it to feel not so bland that people could imagine something more than just it's decorative. And I think that's the bit. So with Hermes, it's got a lino cut, but then there's a little quirky story within it. And Hermes is really known for these little narratives happening. So you have to, within this, I think you found the approach, but I think now the flowers could have flown in as if they were just wisping in and landing onto the tights. And I think that would have been really nice. But I think the one with the little bow moving is really nice. And that's enough. Sometimes don't do too much. But sometimes you can think, maybe the decoration on the shoe could kind of work its way into the illustration. And you may have to be more Disney-like, drawing on acetate or cells. I don't know. Like if you don't know digital and you don't use After Effects or you don't use anything, even if you do the final outcome and delete it and then slowly let it build up as if it's coming on through Photoshop or find a system that you know that you could do. And even if you look at William Kentridge, who draws, uses charcoal and rubs away, and stuff, maybe that could be an extra element. But at the moment, they're very clean and sort of commercial, and they sort of work. And I feel if you keep pushing and keep going with it, I definitely know that they have great potential, but they almost work really nice. The feet one work really nice as potential animations, and accessories is the one area not many illustrators work in. They work mainly on the face. Like if we imagine the amount of people that enter our competitions, it's always around the face. It feels quite portrait based. Accessories, people can have the imagination there. So I think you're doing the right thing in doing that. Um, and did you have Stephen Steepleman as your tutor?
No, he taught in undergrad, but I met with him as part of my thesis. He is the most charming, I mean, amazing.
Amazing.
But I love him. I mean,
He
he's
he came to our show in
incredible.
he was with there was Anna Sui, Stephen Steepleman, because he actually exhibited with us during
Yes.
Holston. We did a Holston exhibition at the National Arts Club. Are
Yeah.
you based in New York?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn, but like I said, I'm kind of both feet back in this world now, so I'm
You
trying to make the rounds.
you should try and reach out to, I don't know if you know Audrey Schilt. She
No.
is she is on our collective. She's in some of our
Okay.
books.
Okay.
Schilt, Schilt. She was creative director for women's wear for Ralph Lauren,
Oh, amazing.
and she's an amazing illustrator. She's
Oh,
based
fabulous.
in New York,
Oh, good.
and there's a few other illustrators obviously Richard Haynes and a few others.
Yep.
But Audrey's always doing little things and projects, and they we do the stuff with the Holston Foundation as well, and that we did something with FIT.
Yep.
I was there a few years ago, I think just post COVID. So we always I wanted to do a big show at the National Arts Club.
They have a show up of Ruben Toledo right now, which is incredible. Of all of his, it's a beautiful show. He's so nice too.
Yes. Well,
Yep.
all these people, all these characters kind of, they got mentioned, and we were trying to work out how could we do something a bit bigger because we had three rooms at the National Arts Club, but
Oh my God.
I wanted to take over the whole space. But we had a fashion show as well,
Oh, how cool. I
so
wish
it
I had
was
gone to that.
a great opportunity and a great experience. So I think it's an amazing space.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building. Oh my goodness. So beautiful.
Amazing show. So try and reach out to
Thank you,
Audrey
Patrick.
and you can explain, I mentioned her to you and
Yes, of course.
you can say it'd be nice to have a cup of coffee or something like that. And you never know.
Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the
Good. All
feedback.
right,
Thank you so
lovely.
much. Thank you.
Eloise, thank you. Well done. Let's get through. So, Anor, I'm not too sure if Anor's here. Uh, Maybe not. So, Anor, I was trying to work out from your illustrate because we had this Christian Dior one. I don't know if you'd done it the wrong way round or if it was just a bag that was hanging. But these are quite quirky little illustrations, and I thought I really like the little Dior bag. I remember I did a little bag for a project, but I made it out of old paper. And these are really nice little drawings, and it's nice that you've drawn accessories as well. And they feel quite like quirky and whimsical. And I think fashion brands love whimsical illustration. Aubrey Beardsley, people like that. So I think keep going with these and just keep doing lots of them, keep sharing them, and almost you could have them and build from them. So excellent, Anor, thank you. Janet, I don't know if Janet's here. Uh, maybe not. Well, anyway, Janet, I saw you sent in two series of drawings. You sent in some prelim drawings, and then you sent in some these final pieces. And I kind of put these up because I thought you developed them more, and I thought they were quite sort of smart. They were almost like trend forecast illustrations. So, and there is good money in trend forecasting illustration. So we had a speaker on here called Jane Body, and she works with WGSN, Style Site, Pantone, and she commissions lots of fashion illustration. So, there's all these places we don't know of where you can get commissioned work, but trend forecasters. Think about that. WGSN commissions lots of illustration. So these remind me of fashion illustrations that represent understanding trends and details because they're really detailed and they're really refined. So Janet, excellent. Joanne, I'm not too sure if Joanne's here. This was quite kind of a playful, quirky, sort of fun illustration, almost mark baking based. So I thought this was quite fun. I'm trying to understand. proportions and figures. You've got these really long legs. I thought that that was quite good. What I would like to see from a fashion illustration point of view is to differentiate the line weight across the drawing because you've treated the whole illustration the same. And usually in fashion illustration, there's something that's more detailed and something that's more free flowing. I feel that you could mix it up a little bit. So our eye has something to go towards and focus. Uh, Tamio, I don't know if Tamio's here, but Tamio, the one on the right, the big one, I really liked. I thought it was really arty. And the top left one, I think there's something quite arty and starting to head a little bit towards Jim Dine. I thought of, and also I was thinking of Giacometti, like these sort of really stripped back drawings and also the scribble marks remind me of illustrations by Frank Gehry, who is an architect. Unfortunately, he died not long ago. But your line work has a sort of architectural feel. So I thought these were quite successful. So Tamio, really well done. Kaz, I don't know if Kaz is on here. Are you on here, Kaz? Maybe not. So and I think an interesting fact I'd like to probably share about Kaz is Kaz came to London Fashion Week last time. She couldn't come this time because she was busy, I think, working on this project. I don't know the facts, but from looking at her Instagram, I think she, after doing London Fashion Week, she was invited to an exclusive show or something's happened. I'm still trying to get the information out of her, but from doing London Fashion Week, she was privately invited to do another show, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I don't want to say too much. But I guess this was some commissioned work that she did, and she wanted to put forward. But maybe she can share with me next time. So well done, Kaz, and also Kaz when she came to London Fashion Week the first day because she's quite a shy person. She was very nervous and very like sort of stood back. But by day two, day three, she was right backstage, right in everyone's face, like I told her to, and great. I thought great work overall. Um, Iris,
Hi, I'm here.
hello. I spotted you. So you can explain your piece.
Wow. Okay. If you remember, last time I used paper and stencils and ink stamps. I really wanted to do it the crafty way, but this month I don't know. I just took a studio and I'm working on my art, and suddenly I'm working on my fashion illustrations, and I'm so confused between the two. I've been told that someone cannot be an artist and a fashion illustrator, and now I'm thinking that's not right. So at the very last minute, I thought I must do my best, and I went back to digital painting, which I didn't do for many months. But maybe you know that now in Israel there is a war, and we sit at home near our bomb shelters, and I couldn't go to the studio and to all my materials. All I had is my iPad, really. So I did my very best at the last day. I worked several hours on this Victor and Rolf look. I love Victor and Rolf. I think this show was amazing. I wish I had more time to really take it deeply, and I wish I had more time. Now I really regret it.
Victor and Rolf is an interesting one. I was commissioned actually to do some illustrations for
Really,
Victor and Rolf.
I
Um,
love him.
and they were the ones where he had the big sculptural pieces uh, with these sort of heads. You know, it was like
Yes,
white.
the Whiteheads.
Yes. So
Yes,
I got to illustrate that for a magazine editorially, and it was a really interesting. They were black uh, ink drawings that I had to do. I think I had a day and a half to illustrate all the show. I think I did 25, 30 illustrations. So
I
the
will search for
speed.
it. I want to see it.
Yeah, so there was a lot of speed going on and almost quite playful. and I was also playing with typography and stuff like that. But I think yes, this illustration's really nice. It has this sort of beautiful. I was looking recently about the Schiaparelli exhibition with the feathers. I don't know if you saw them making all the feathers, and this reminded me of the because there's a kingfisher that they've done, and looking at this, it has that beautiful array of color, and the way you've colored it is so nice. And I love I love the illustration, and I think it's sort of got a painterly approach, even though you've used the iPad, and obviously with circumstances that you're in, it's great to see your outcome, and I really love what you've done here, and it's a great piece of work. And you know me, Iris. I'm always one to ask for more. Even in the worst case scenario, um, it's just nice to see because whenever you're going to get commissioned work, people want to see at least 5 to 7 pieces of work in that approach. So then they can go, okay, we like this series where if you do this and then you do that and then you do this and you do that. I think people like there was a talk on the AOI or something about finding your style. It isn't about finding your style. It's showing a consistent series that are in the same vibe. And I think that's something you should consider. So if you're going to do some more Victor and Rolf, rather than approach it in a different way, use the same approach and just do a series. And it would be like that black background with these really vivid colors. And the face is really interesting and the color is blending into the face. I think you need more. So I know times are tough, but if you get a moment to draw more, um, I would
No,
do.
we have time. All we have is time. We sit at
All you have is
home,
time. So that's
nothing.
that's good that you had time. So in all this time, I think what would be really nice is that you create a little series of these. So when you go to post it or share it, you're like, here you go. Here's 5 of these pieces of work related to Victor and Rolf. And I think Victor and Rolf love drawing as well because they're very arty, they're artisan, they're craft. Yeah, so that I think tag them in, and I think this is a great piece of work, and well
Really?
done, and it's good that you went back to the iPad. I think this idea of art and illustration is you can't be both. Look, uh, a lot of people. Andy Warhol was an illustrator. Many people have been. Picasso was an illustrator. Matisse was an illustrator. So for someone to say that illustrators and artists are artists, you may not be a conceptual artist, but you can draw. And it's usually said by someone who is more of an abstract artist, or they're putting decorative strokes on walls. But if you look at there's an amazing illustrator artist. Well, there's lots. Go to Gagosian. Look at uh, Jonas Woods. Look, there's so many that are illustrators. So I think whoever told you that information, Iris, I would ignore it and just look at the facts. The facts are,
I'm so happy to hear you say that
well,
because
the
both
facts are the
things are
facts.
in my heart. I am an artist and I want to do fashion. I love fashion illustration.
Yeah, it's just a different approach. They probably think it's because it's too commercial. And when I did my MA, a lot of the people on my course, on the art courses, they were like, "Well, fashion's for horrible people." That was their mentality. That fashion. Well, we don't really like fashion, but the funny thing is, they all wanted to be involved with brands like Dior. We've even seen the Chapman brothers work with Dior. We've seen Jeff Koons. We've seen Richard Hamilton, Richard
Yeah.
Prince. They've all worked for Louis Vuitton. So this idea of fashion and art and illustration, David Hockney. David Hockney was an illustrator. So I don't know. I think the most famous artists in the world have been through the life of illustration. So I think the good news is you just need your facts and then share the facts back. And your job's not to justify anyway. You just say, I am what I am. Who cares? Thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the other side.
Yes, it's just that I'm in a specific time when I'm trying to rethink my what am I doing, you know? So it's very good for me to hear you say this right now.
Yes, well, I go through this discussion many times throughout my whole career that I've worked. People were like, "Oh, well, this is crap and this is rubbish, and you do this and you don't understand that, and you're not an artist, and you're not." You are what you are, and keep moving forward. Look, there's a really interesting talk about by Tom Sachs, he is an artist, but I would say he does bricolage, he makes things out of wood, and but his work, his paintings are like illustrations. So I and he talks about this battle of being an artist or an illustrator or a creative, and people will go against you and say, well, you're not, or you're this, or you're that. So I think, Iris, keep going. It's irrelevant as long as you're happy and you're making your work. Being an artist is the most, or being a creative is the most fulfilling role. Even if you're not the richest person in the world, your fulfillment, and as they say, most people would love to be an artist. They just can't afford to be. And I think
So
that's the
I do what
biggest.
I love every day. I'm very
Yeah.
fulfilled and very happy.
Well, there you go. So carry on and lovely. But Iris, unfortunately, you need to do more.
No, it's a good news. It's
Good,
good news for
good.
me.
That's
Thank
what I
you.
like to hear. Excellent. Well
Thank you.
done. And stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I think that is everybody. Well done, everyone. And um, some great pieces of work. And it's always nice to kind of look through and see the diversity in the work. So I can see a name on here, Helen.
Hi, I'm new and I did send in some illustrations. They mustn't have come through to you.
When did you send them? Because while we're
A
on here, I'm
couple
going
of
to look for
days
them.
ago, I was talking to Diane.
Did you send them via email?
I sent them on the form. There's instructions on how to submit.
Do you
Uh,
have them on your computer or were they done on paper?
I took photos and they were done on paper and I took photos of them and I added them to a form that was on
Yeah,
this.
let me have a look on here. Uh, because Helen. Right, let me have a look. Hmm. Helen Keane.
Yeah,
Are you based in Ireland?
yes, in Dublin. I was over in London for Fashion Week.
Right, let me have a look. My dad's from Navan.
Oh, okay, that's not far. That's in
Not
me.
not too far. Your accent has a little bit of it.
Yes.
Um, my mum's Tipperary. I'm trying to find why. Hmm. Would you be able to share them on your screen if
I'll,
I give you access?
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Because let me just stop sharing my screen because while we're on here, you may as well share.
Okay.
Let me give you. So you can share now if you want, Helen.
Okay. I'm going to just try and get the ones I.
And what I'll do is I'll add them to that PDF as well.
Okay.
If I find them. If you can't, just email me, Patrick at Fida Worldwide.
Okay.
I
That's,
did ask if anyone had been missed.
um, okay.
Have you got them?
Sorry, I'm trying to get them. Yeah. I have to sign into co-edit.
Anyway, at least you've got a friend next to you.
Yes. Yeah. She never. I'm. the Zoom is asking me to sign in.
Oh no. Is there could you do you want to email them to me now?
Okay, yeah. Um,
Patrick at Patrick Morgan, and if you email them to me, then I can share my screen. I'm trying to work out why I don't have them. Uh, let's have a look. View the folder. Fashion Week,
so Patrick,
Kahori, Joanne, Eloise, Lucy, no, Tamio, Janet, Eloise, Iris. No, you're, I don't know what happened. I'll have to check that folder because you're not on there. Did you manage to email them?
I'm I'm going to try now. But then,
Anyway, it's good. It's good that it's not gone perfect. Ah,
so
unless you put
your
them in the
email is,
chat. Can you drop them in the chat?
I'm just about to send the email. So
Okay,
your
send
email,
me the email and then I can
so it's Patrick. Your email is Patrick.
Patrick at fidaworldwide.com or Fida if that's but it's spelt it's the same as Diane's but with Patrick
.com.
dot com. Yeah.
Okay.
But I can't see did you email to info at or anything like that?
No, see, when I joined up, I got this form and it said to just when you're submitting, do it through this link. So I did it, and there was a screen that popped up. I can, when I'm finished, send you the form. Well,
Yeah, because you're is your because there's Helen McClafferty, that's not you, is
no,
it?
definitely
And
not.
there's Helen, no, that's definitely not you. I don't know, but you're
Yeah.
not coming up on my email, so
Uh,
otherwise I could find it.
okay, so if actually you should get an email from Keen Illustrator.
Okay, let's have a
Illustration.
look.
Keen
Yep,
Illustration.
I've got it. Right, great.
Okay.
Perfect. Let me just quickly open these. I'm just going to share my screen again. Can everyone see? Can you see it? Can you see
Yep,
them?
I can see it. Yes. Yeah.
Lovely. I just want to check that I've got all of them. Lovely. Okay. So, explain yourself.
Okay, so my background is I've been teaching English full time, TOEFL for the last 7 years, and I was tired of that. And during that time, I was doing traditional art. If you look at my Instagram, Helen Keane Art, it's I love portraiture of the figure, and during the summer I do landscape painting. But I wanted to change, and I went back to college. I got onto a course to do because I liked the figure. I wanted to do something that wasn't just painting or whatever. So I decided to do fashion design. So I'm doing that and I love the illustration part, the fashion illustration. And I'd love to get work in this type of work.
Yeah, so we've got, I think, I don't know if you know, so there's Louise Borton, there's a few people that are based in Ireland
Yes,
who,
follow her on Instagram.
yes, so she's come to London Fashion Week a few, I guess she's been, I don't know how many times, for about 3 or 4 years she's come and she still comes. And she's mixed it up. She goes with Cabaret Couture as well because they run life drawing sessions. And they kind of add a little bit of extra learning if you want to do figure drawings. And I guess for you, because you're starting with pencil drawings and you're doing a bit of, it looks like a bit of markers.
Watercolor. So I sent the videos of the work process and everything.
Yeah.
So I'd start off just graphic pencil and then the watercolor and then um
Yeah, the watercolors are nice. The watercolor, I think this one for me is the most successful, and I think
okay.
the proportions are really good. What would be good because you're quite still quite early in this? What you
Yes.
should do is make notes on your drawings to reference, like a photographer does. They try and reference what was the f-stop. Where with you, you should say this was a 2 minute drawing, and we did. I did this with Louise, and I've done this with Patricia Kilty, and all these Irish illustrators that we've had on here, and just to get them to understand about drawing, how long you spent on this drawing, what was the approach. So then the next time you do it, if I spend longer doing it, does the drawing improve? How's it improving? And then are you so like you're trying to move the figure. There's a
Hmm.
really good book called Nine Heads. I don't know if you've checked
Oh,
out
okay.
Nine Heads, but it's
Okay.
a great book about the figure and proportions.
Okay.
And I taught fashion illustration for, I'd say 13, 14 years. And from a fashion perspective, and within that book really teaches you about proportions, figures, and rendering. And I
Hmm.
think it's kind of a good beginning point to start at because the way you're drawing it, you're approaching it almost like a fashion designer where as an illustrator you could bring in more of an arty effect to it and be a bit looser and then go neater on certain little areas. So if you look at big illustrators from David Downton, and you've got them on there, they kind of you'll see there's almost like a brushstroke that feels quite painterly, which then leads into something. So the way you've treated the boots here or the shoes is the same way you've treated the dress, and it's all the treatment is very similar. But if you look at it, the way you've treated the legs is no different from the garment. So is the legs more important than the garment? So that's the bit you have to kind of go, okay, well, because I like that you've got that front leg coming forward and the back leg going darker and going backwards, and you've kind of brought a bit of darkness to the foreleg, so it feels like it's coming forward. So I can see you've got good artistic understanding with depth of field in drawing, which is nice, and painting. But what you'll have to do now is you have to kind of strip it apart and reduce bits and then add extra elements to the drawing to say, okay, well, the garment could have more or the shoes have more. Something needs to be pushed a bit further because you're treating everything the same and I don't know what bit to look at. So here I'm like, okay, if I'm decoding the drawing, I'm saying, okay, there's a nice understanding of form and shape, but then when I look at the line weight around the body, the right side and the left side is drawn exactly the same, but the left side is kind of in theory going up and moving. So one side needs to be lighter to
Oh,
give you a sense of form and shape. A really good way to test this is to either draw garments on their own, so you get to understand texture, and
mhm.
also draw sculptures. Go to a museum. In Dublin, you've got a few Henry Moores. You can go and draw some sculptures and see if you can draw shapes that come forward to shapes that go backwards to understand shape and form. Because a lot of sculptures, and they could be modernist sculptures, is to create form. Even rocks, if you draw bits of stones and rocks, is the weight of the line gives you depth of field. And I think that's the area that potentially needs to be strengthened a bit more. But you've got the proportions are really nice on this one. So if I look at them all, I've because look, this one's too small. Her legs are too short. Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you think about look at the top of her body to her bottom of her body, she look from a fashion illustration point of view, them legs, nine heads, you need nine heads in that whole body, and you've probably got seven, maybe six and a half. So you need to elongate them legs, which you
Mhm.
did here.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, so that heads you more to fashion illustration and fashion drawing. Yeah, for a designer. So you would be working with a designer. Where if you want to become an illustrator who wants to be more editorial, which we were talking about earlier with some of the other illustrators, is really saying, okay, what is the significance of what I'm drawing? And then kind of work towards that because at the moment you're just drawing fashion figures from shows. Now you have to go, okay, well, what other elements, like Eloise, where she was saying, do you know what? I'm just going to look at the shoes. I'm going to look at an element, and then I'll look at a hand holding a bag, and then you can have more fun. Drawing the fashion figure and drawing it from a front view is like drawing fashion show images from Vogue.com. It's very sort of normal and it's a photographer's shot. Where you're an illustrator, you're meant to have a bit more of an imagination.
Okay,
So
great.
bring your imagination into it more and kind of go, well, I would be on the floor looking up, or I would look from the side. So Richard Haynes draws from the side, and we saw Eloise looking from a really strange, like looking down at the shoes. And I
Mm.
think that they're the little bits that add your value because it's like you're a secret spy looking at a show. And the best illustration area to draw is backstage. If you can get into a backstage for a show, you get
There you
more
froze.
time. And secondly, if you're referencing from a show, I always go to dazed and
Sorry,
confused.com.
Patrick, you froze there. Sorry, on my part, you froze.
Am I still speaking?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, so I was just saying,
So
go.
the last thing I heard was draw from different perspective, like Richard
Yes, and
Haynes.
also draw images that are photographed from backstage. They're more interesting. Go online and type in Prada fashion show backstage, Dior show backstage. The photography is much more interesting.
Okay. Okay,
All
brilliant.
right. So
Thank
hopefully that
you
helps.
so much. Yeah, I'm super new to all this. Yeah, this is
Good.
great. Thank you
Everyone
so
starts somewhere.
Yeah.
And we have to kind of start and put ourselves forward, which is nice and it's good to see and well done. And I feel throughout all the work, and what I would like to know is what was first, what was last, what was in the middle, and then you could. So when we do life drawing, you know the first drawing is always bad. And then
Mm,
by the third drawing, it's really good. And by the fifth drawing, you're getting tired and it goes bad again. So there's a real cycle to drawing, and you have to kind of rather than I say to a lot of the illustrators is they get worn out when they're drawing and then they rush a bit and then they ruin it. Where that's the time to have a cup of tea. So there has to be a cup of tea or a coffee in the experience so you can go away, come back and carry on and and elongate the time to reflect on the work that you've made and then go, okay, where a lot of the fashion illustrators just draw it and they want it done, finished, next, where you've got to change that attitude of I can draw a bit, I can have a tea. I might draw 10 and I'll do various marks and then I'll have a tea and then I'll go, okay, I'll work on two and then I'll work on one, but I'm going to spend 3 hours drawing just that piece. And I think that's a really uh,
very
switching
compatible.
up. It's like training for a marathon. You change the speed in which you're moving, and I
Mm,
think it's quite important. And then you build up resilience. So I
mm,
think that's a good tactic to how to become a better craftsperson and a better artist is to change speed. And I think that's quite important. And especially if you go to fashion shows,
mm,
uh, you don't have time. Backstage is a lot slower, but when the fashion show's on, the model is there and gone
mm,
15 seconds. There's no time really to draw much. And a lot of the illustrators this year, they were drawing mostly the people that were watching the shows because they were more impressive than the fashion show. So the people that are watching are more interesting. So that was the beauty of drawing backstage. And funnily enough, a lot of the people watching the shows are really influential and had huge followers. So I know a lot of the people that come like saying, "Ah, this person had 1 million followers. That was an influencer." So sometimes they're more impressive than the fashion designer. So this is something to consider. Anyway, hopefully, Helen, that luckily I spotted your name and I couldn't remember putting you forward, but I'll add these to the deck. And you're on Slack, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
are
I've
you
been
okay with
emailing
Slack?
guys.
It's Slack to me is the nicest out of all of the tools to
Okay.
use. There's other ones, but we may have other options. We're discussing other ideas anyway, but Slack seems to be a really good way for everybody to communicate fast. So you'll get used to Slack if you're not liking Slack.
Okay. No problem. But the next time I just email the two of you for
It's better if you put them on the file because everyone puts them into the folder. Because I
in
get
Slack.
so many emails that I don't want things to get lost. So
Yeah.
we created this sort of Google Drive. What we could do is if you could today fill it in again and send it, and I'll see if it works, and I'll email you.
Lovely. That's
All
great.
right?
Okay. Thanks a
Good.
million, Patrick. Thanks.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you, everybody. And sorry for that glitch, but we got to see everybody. That's the most important. All right.
Okay. Thanks very
Thank
much.
you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Patrick.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Buonanotte.
I'm trying to work it out to stop.